My name is Vanessa Heinemann. I am German and I've been a professional for 20 years. My precise position is I'm in charge of the group financial planning and analysis team of my company. I'm working in the beauty industry. So we are a worldwide company that is selling beauty products for different needs in all corners of the world. Well, actually, when I was younger, I had like this magic number, which was the year 2000. So yes, I'm very old. And I was always thinking myself what I'm gonna be when I'm in my mid-20s at this turn of the year 2000. And I always was thinking of myself, perhaps I'm gonna have kids and a family, but I had absolutely no vision of what job or career I would have. And I think this is probably very often the case for girls. They think they are too limited to this role of mother and maintaining the family. And thankfully I was very curious and I wanted to see the world. And the older I got, the more I realized that I was not satisfied with just this role of being a mother. So now I am a mother. I have 2 children, but I also have a very interesting career that I'm proud of. The best part, I think, is that it's a very global role. So we're getting figures from all different countries and we have to analyze the figures. So we have to understand what's happening in China, why is the turnover increasing, why is the sales increasing in the UK. So it's very interesting because we get a feeling of what's happening in the different corners of the world. And I find that very exciting. My job consists in organizing the financial planning of the company and analyzing the figures. So in terms of planning, we are asking all the countries in the world to send us a forecast of what they think they will sell and how much they think they will have to spend in terms of costs in order to do those sales. So that's the guidelines we give them. We ask them how often they have to send us this figure, what kind of figures we really want. And then the second part is the analysis. So we look at what is everyone reporting. So, and then we say, okay, this area of the business is doing really well. They're selling much more. Here is a bit more problem. So we take all of these figures and we give them to the management of the company, and they can then take some decisions on that. So they can decide, okay, we want to invest a bit more here, or we want to help this country a bit more because they're selling less products than in the previous year, so we need to work on a plan with them. Well, it all starts with studies, of course. You need to go to university and learn your métier. I'm working in finance, so there are some specific figures and kind of analysis you need to understand. You need to understand how profit and loss statement. Don't worry if you don't follow, but you have specific notions and you need to understand them. So everything starts with the studies, and then I was always curious to see the world. So I wanted to work in a big company, a worldwide company. And actually I sent my first application to the company that I'm sent today, and they did not invite me, but I didn't give up. So I sent more applications, and in the end they took me, and I've been with them for 20 years now. And within the company, of course, you start with a easy job in the beginning, and then if you're open, you move throughout the company. I was highlighting very early on that I want to work also abroad. So you have to say what you want also, and not wait perhaps for the company for you to offer you things. So I was very clear in the beginning already that I want to go abroad, and I always had managers who helped me along my way to get to the next step. So I studied a business program. I actually because I wanted to do more of an international career, I chose an international study program. So I had to spend, I'm German, but I had to spend the first 2 years in France and then the last 2 years in Germany. It was a business school, and I think the interesting part was, apart from the topic itself, was that there were lots of international students. So I learned a lot from the fact that I was studying with people from Spain, from the UK, from France, from the US, that we had to do a lot of teamwork, a lot of project work with these people. So that was a very important part of my studies, actually. So what I liked about my job was that it is an analytical job. So I was always very interested in numbers. I mean, it's not only for boys, it's also for girls. So I wanted to do something analytical, something with numbers, but I did not want it to be completely theoretical. So I did actually an internship in a bank where you also work with figures, but it was completely, there was no product behind it. So what I liked about the company that I'm working for now is that there's a concrete product behind it. So you calculate, for example, the price of a lipstick, and you have consumers behind it, and you look at what are the consumer trends, what do they need in order to buy our products, so to convince them to buy our products. So it was much more concrete. So it was figures, but there was also something concrete behind it. The best parts about my role is, as I said, that I think that I can apply what I'm good in, which is the analysis part. The good part about my job is that I think my company is a company that leaves you quite a bit of freedom, in the sense that everybody can say what they think. It's not a very hierarchical company where only the boss is allowed to say his opinion and everyone has to follow. So I like about my job that I'm allowed to express my opinion, that I'm asked to express my opinion, and that I have the feeling that I can influence the business decisions. What is the most challenging? I think the beauty industry is a very fast-moving industry, so trends change very fast. The lipstick that was very much in fashion last year is perhaps not in fashion anymore next year, so it's constantly changing. And you need to adjust where do you put your money all the time. But at the same time, it's also what makes it very challenging. But I think I would be bored if every day I came to my job and I would do exactly the same thing. So that's not the case, which can be challenging, but it's also makes it very interesting. A typical day in my job? Well, there is not really a typical day in my job. Every day, to be honest, is different. But I do spend quite a bit of time in meetings on different topics with different people from different parts of the organization, where we exchange on what are the next steps that we want to do in terms of the development of our departments, of our function. So we spend a lot of time in meetings. We exchange all the time. I think there is no typical day, as I said, but the thing that repeats every day is that we're constantly exchanging with different people, trying to see what's the next steps that are important. What motivates me every day in my work is that I have the feeling that I can make a difference, that in the terms we work with my team, that we can look at, we spend perhaps a lot of time on this and this makes no sense, so we want to change a process and we do it a bit better. Influence in the sense of business, so where do we need to spend our money, where do we need to go, where do we need to do further analysis, ask the countries to send us perhaps an analysis so that we can better understand what's happening. So I think what motivates me is this feeling that I can influence and also the fact that there are lots of very motivated people around me who all don't come just to work to do the hours and get a salary at the end, but everyone is really motivated and interested in what they're doing, and this collective feeling of we enjoy what we do is what motivates me a lot. Yes, I definitely think that I have a role to play in the company. The analysis that me and my team do every month is really giving to is given to the CEO of the company, is giving to the top management. So through our analysis, where we can highlight risks and things that are going well, etc., we're definitely influencing some of the decisions that are taken, not necessarily by us, but by the top management. I did not always know that I wanted to have this job. I knew that I wanted to do something with figures, and I knew that I wanted to do something that is not just limited to one country or one town. I grew up in a little village, so I always knew that I wanted to get out and have a broader view of the world. I found this study program, which was finance, but international finance. So it combined the two things. And once I started my studies, which were not finance studies, but business studies in general, it confirmed the fact that finance, which is very much linked to figures, is the right thing for me. And it confirmed that I wanted to work for an international company. And voila, here I am. So in order to work in finance, you need different skill sets. You need at one side, of course, an analytical mindset. So you need to be able to make sense of numbers, not only to add numbers or to multiply numbers, but also to understand what's behind it. To be able to understand when you see not just the figures, but to understand what does it actually mean, what's the risk in here, or what's the bigger message behind those figures. So you need this analytical mindset where you understand figures, but you also need other skills. So you need to be able to explain the figures, because sometimes it makes a lot of sense of you, but if you try to explain it to someone from marketing, so someone who's not directly working with the figures, if you really want to influence or to convince that other person from another department to understand your point, you need to be able to explain it in easy words. So that's also very important in our métier. Understanding the figures and explaining them to other people. I think a challenge that I have faced was at the time when I had my first kid. There was the question of how am I gonna balance taking care of my kid, spending time with my kid, and having a career. And I was very lucky because I have a husband who is very understanding also, and who knows that I would not be happy just being a mother. And we split. Basically, I took some time off, and then he took some time off taking care of the kids, which allowed me to go back into my job without having a bad conscience, or without having to worry about a very small kid who gets sick and who has special needs that you need to take care of also as a mother. So we're sharing the work, and that was very important for me. I don't think there is a key moment. It was more like a step by step. You're building your career. You have to accept to do different jobs. You need to have a vision. I think you need to know what you want, and then you have to see what kind of different jobs or activities you do in order to go to get to that vision. So you need to sometimes also accept to do perhaps for 2 or 3 years, perhaps in a company, a job that's not absolutely your dream, but you need to have in the background your vision and saying, okay, I'm doing this because I want to get there. I think that's what was important for me. So it was not one key moment that changed everything, but it was more like a step-by-step build-up of my career. I think when I was quite young in my career, someone quite senior and very high up told me, I'm jealous of you because the whole world is open to you. I'm now Vice President of Finance, and I know that there's very little room up, but there's also, I can't go back down. So I'm kind of stuck. So he said, like, enjoy this period, use it. And don't think you have to go up too fast, because you are 20 something. You will have 30, 40 more years to do. So take the time to build your career. So I found that very useful, and I followed his advice. So I was not career obsessed where I always was looking, I have to have something higher as the next step, but I was looking, trying to see how can I have different experiences for myself or for my future career, and slowly building my career. The advice that I would give to young girls is to stay curious, have a look at what's out in the world. There's all kind of different careers. Don't limit yourself. Don't think you have to just fulfill one role, neither just the mother role or neither just the career role. Think about what you want, what's important for you, what makes you happy, and keep your eyes open. See what's out there. Try to learn as much as possible about different career paths, about different solutions, and then follow your dream. When I was younger, I think my mother inspired me. My mother was the first one in our family who did studies. So she was the first one to leave the village and go to university. She became a chemical engineer, and she was the first woman in her university to do those studies. So I was definitely inspired by her courage and her, she had to do it all by herself. She had no help from her parents, etc., because they didn't know anything about those studies, about university life in general. So I was definitely inspired by her.